maybe you guys can tell me about the Information Center and how it has affected your jobs specifically.
Well, I think for us, it's just really affected the website the most. It has made the website a much more vibrant and relevant and valuable product for us to sell. I think when people especially saw some of the innovative things we did on the wildfires and the type of video we were providing and how much traffic that brought to the site, our website all of a sudden became a much more valuable commodity for our advertisers.
Has it changed your job dramatically, or?
Well, it's changed certainly the way that we brand. We're no longer just a newspaper website. I mean, we're more about information in general. So we're trying to, in our branding efforts, to get out the message that if you're not interested in breaking news and headlines and what's going on locally, that there are other things that are available to you online as well. Things like entertainment, things like calendars, places to sound off on your own opinions, things like blogs, and our branding efforts have moved in a more broad direction as a result of the Information Center change.
An example of that is with a golf advertiser we had here. We actually, based on some of the content that the newsroom was doing, both in the paper, in our glossy magazines, and online, we were able to build a golf package so that they could, in essence, put their logo in, be positioned next to, and so it really increased the value and increased their ability to reach audiences across our products in a much more branded and high-profile way. That's been really successful for them. And that's something, we worked in a very collaborative way with the newsroom, with marketing, and with advertising to pull it all together so it maintained the editorial integrity, but also was a great marketing vehicle for this advertiser.
We also had a similar story with a local baseball team where it's a minor league kind of establishment where they had a very limited budget, and they said, we want to be out on the front page, but I can't afford to be on the front page. And we worked with the newsroom, the Information Center, to contextually link them on page one with the weather. So there was a revenue opportunity, albeit small dollars, every time that there was a home game being played on that day's weather that would say Palm Springs 81 and sunny, home game tonight for the Palm Springs Power.
How's the communication lines changed between departments? Steve talks a lot about breaking down walls, and that's something that we're finding, our members are finding, is necessary as things grow and change, that the departments have to be more linked to each other.
I think that's absolutely essential, and I am very fortunate to really consider Steve and Rick, who's managing editor, like my partners in business. And Michelle, our publisher, will always tell a funny story where we're sitting in a meeting and we were talking about a publication, and we're talking about how do we present it, what are the marketing opportunities, and the thought came up, well, let's sell the cover. And I immediately was the one saying, no, I don't want to sell the cover. I think it's important to have the cover being an editorial product. And Rick was going, no, we should sell the cover. So it was this very funny role reversal where I was the one thinking, okay, where do I need to maintain the integrity? And Rick was like, no, we should sell it. We could go for it. And so it's kind of interesting that juxtaposition happened. And I think it's just because we work really closely together, and Rick and Steve really know that I value the editorial content, and I understand that it's what makes our product very valuable. But I think they also recognize that the things that our advertisers say and do and feel are important really can sometimes be a good pulse of what's happening in the market.
And I would add to that it's called the Information Center, so you definitely need to share information. Recently, we did a 3-day serial package on a local infant that was struck with a very rare form of pediatric cancer. And so in promoting the story or the package, we worked very closely with the Information Center, with the writer, the editors, even the photographers. In doing so, we actually had produced a 30-second spot that was going to run on our website as well as be trafficked to local television stations promoting this very compelling, heart-touching story. In reviewing the spot, I looked at it and knew that we needed to make some changes from an art direction standpoint and what our columnist or our writer was actually wearing. And her hair was a bit messed, and so I went over and I immediately grabbed the writer and said, can we do another take? And she was, sort of in the midst of writing this story, but understood the importance of that she was going to be on TV, that this web video was going to be uploaded. And so after reviewing the first take, Steve actually said, I really do agree. We kind of have to reshoot this. So even our reporters and writers and editors are also being aware that even though they're trained journalists to write, that presentation is also becoming more and more important. So their roles are even changing a little bit.
How would you monetize something like that? That's the biggest issue that our publishers are dealing with.
I think you have to be strategic about it. I mean, I don't think that is something like the Baby Natalie story where it was kind of sensitive and there were a lot of issues and there was something that you don't necessarily want to take advantage of that. But for instance, for the wildfire, there was a great opportunity for us to market it to advertisers that wanted to show support, that were doing fundraising efforts that were going to support the fire afterwards, and it was a great opportunity to market. And we were able to do it in a way that was sensitive, but also made good business sense because it was a way for them to promote themselves and the fact that they were going to eventually be helping fire victims through that or showing their support for the volunteer services and firefighters. So I think you have to be strategic about that and really have a conversation and a dialogue about, okay, what makes sense and what doesn't make sense and where can we take advantage of this and where can we not. And some of the things we've looked at doing is, do we pre-sell a breaking news package? So you don't go out there with the insensitivity of President Ford just died, can I sell you an ad, to this is our breaking news package. Whenever we have a breaking news story, here's the package you will get. And so as it comes along, it just is implanted, and they get the advantage of the readership and the viewership on the website.
So would a breaking news package, what would that entail exactly?
It would probably entail something along the line of, doing some kind of pre-roll video if we're going to have video, or doing ads within a slideshow if we were doing a photo slideshow, banner ads that would rotate with the story, maybe a logo or anchored ad with the copy in the newspaper. So that's kind of what it would look, so that when we know that that's going to be coming out, that would be what would happen. And it's much more better, works much better when it comes to the website.
How do you deal with the branding of your products? Trying to appease, kind of the old mentality, the people that are nostalgic about their newspaper, maybe a little more resistant to change, but also drawing in, younger readers and new readers.
I think it's really looking at how you present things differently based on the audience that is going to be reading the product. I mean, I think in the newspaper, there's a certain way you package things that's going to be very different than the way you package it to the website. So you're hopefully reaching another audience and preserving the relationship you have with your core.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, we really haven't changed the way we brand necessarily based on any internal structure. It's usually, foremost the message along with the intended audience. So we know that by being a part of something like a Coachella Music Festival that brings hundreds of thousands of mostly young people around the world, that our message to them about going to the website, learning about the bands and what's happening, and seeing photos and everything, that a boomer living in the same city in which the concert goes on or the festival takes place isn't going to be confused at our messages.